Welcome back everyone to another market update. Today we are going over your August 2025 single family home market update for Paulding County, specifically Dallas, Georgia. This is for primarily my sellers, but for my buyers as well. But I've noticed that my seller clients find more value in these because they already own an existing property. So we're going to go over the market update for August 2025, specifically for single family homes. But before we do, I'm going to start with this headline, and that's Wellstar Paulding Medical Center breaks ground on a $300 million expansion. So if you are familiar with the area, Wellstar has a gigantic medical center in Hiram, Georgia. And it already is a large facility. I believe it has 112 beds currently, a large emergency department, and they're expanding it to include, I believe, 56 more beds and breaking ground to add an addition and an expansion to that facility, bringing in more jobs, more infrastructure, and just a larger medical facility there at Wellstar Paulding Medical Center. So this is a sign of growth and expansion and investment into the Paulding County area, specifically Hiram, Georgia, and it is something I think you should know about. It's right there on the intersection and in the border of Dallas and Hiram, Georgia, and it is something you should be aware of and worth noting as we jump right into our market update. If you'd like to read more about this article, you can check it out here on Paulding County Economic Development on their website. As usual, let's jump right into our August 2025 single family home, detached home market update, and we're going to compare Paulding County as well as Dallas, Georgia. So if we look again to level set, the green line is Paulding County. The black line is all of the entire MLS, which consists of all 8 counties across Metro Atlanta. And the yellow line indicates Dallas, Georgia. So currently we're sitting at right here, if we're looking at the green line for Paulding County, and we're looking at average sales price of $380,000. And if we're looking at Dallas, Georgia specifically, we're looking at $376,000, down almost about 1.2% from last year this time. Last year this time it was about $395,000 for your average single family detached home, and it has dropped about a percentage overall. So something to keep in mind. And what that looks like if you are a seller is pricing your home more aggressively, being a little bit more willing to entertain alternative offers. But this goes to show you that the average sales price is decreasing a bit this year as it compares to last year. And that is actually inversely related to what's happening in Paulding County. That's inversely related to what's happening in the entire MLS. If you look here in the gray line, you have 486 last year and 496 this year, 498 this year, I'm sorry. And it has gone up about 2.4%. So if you're comparing Dallas, Georgia specifically to the entire MLS, it has actually decreased quite a bit as compared to the entire MLS. Now keep in mind the MLS is a giant data set, but it is interesting to compare those two numbers there. I wanted to take a minute to pause right here before we transition to the next slide. If you are interested in some free resources, an ROI cheat sheet, or to see how much your home is currently worth, make sure to check out the link in the bio and fill out some of those inquiry forms, and we'll get you some of those resources. On another note, if you'd like to simply talk to me directly about a strategy to potentially list your home, I'd love to meet you. I'd love to chat with you. Go ahead and scan this QR code right here. Right here, it's going to open up a text message from your cell phone to mine. All you have to do is hit send, and we can talk and go from there. All you have to do is scan this QR code, click send, and it's going to open up your text messaging app. All you have to do is click send, and it's going to send a text message straight to my cell phone, and we can go from there. With that, thank you all so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. So let's move on to new listings. Again, black is the entire MLS, green is Paulding County, and yellow is Dallas. So if we look currently right here in Dallas, Georgia, we have 221 new listings that hit the market in August, and that is up 12.8% as compared to last year at the same time in August. So 196 to 221, and it also follows suit as well with Paulding County in its entirety. So many more listings hitting the market. We have a slow uptick in the availability or the inventory of homes according to this. So buyers have a bit more to choose from. Again, if you're a buyer looking at this, what is this saying? Again, There are more options for buyers to choose from. Therefore, important to be strategic about the pricing and timing of your home if that's something that you are considering. Our next number is one of my favorites. It's pending sales. So this is an indication of how many homes are going under contract, not necessarily closed, but going from active to pending in August of this year. So we have 141, and that's up 1.4% as compared to last year. And that's actually an improvement, or looking a bit better than Paulding County, which is indicated here in the green, which is actually down almost a whole percent. And also looking pretty good as compared to the entire FMLS. So up about 1.5%. Last year, this time in Paulding County was 139, and this year at this time it's 141. So what does that mean? It means that sellers are being a little bit more quick or accepting more offers, not necessarily making their way all the way to closing, but it is going to show you that more homes are going under contract this month of this year versus the same time last year. And again, if you're a seller, something to keep in mind that, there's a lot of ways you can interpret this, but simply put, it's when homes are hitting the market, they are accepting offers, or they're getting an offer that's somewhat more appealing and willing to accept it at a slightly higher rate than last year. Average days on market, this one's pretty straightforward. This is how many days a home sits on the market before it closes. And if we're looking here at Dallas, Georgia, we're actually up 7% as compared to last year. So this is not ideal for sellers. Obviously, the longer a home sits on the market, that's not necessarily the best thing. So another indication on homes are sitting a little bit longer. It may also help to keep this in mind to adjust your expectation about how quickly you can get an offer that's acceptable to you. But we're up about 7% last year. We went from 43 to 46 in Dallas, Georgia specifically. 46 days on market roughly before a home is closed. And if we're looking at Paulding County in general, it's pretty flat, 43 and 43, no significant change indicated by this information here. But again, if you're a seller looking at this, it is important to know that it's taking quite a bit longer than last year, but also if you're comparing it to a few years ago, 46 days is the average days on market it is taking your home once it hits the market to sell. Next, we have monthly inventory supply and demand. This is often what folks indicate or are asking about to determine whether we're in a buyer's market or a seller's market or an average market. If we're less than 4, we're in a seller's market. If we're in 4 to 6, it is a balanced market. And if we're higher than 6, we are in a buyer's market. So if you look here in Dallas, Georgia, we're about average, just above 4% here, pushing us into an average or a little bit on the lower end of a balanced market. So when I see this number, we're not quite in a seller's market. Sellers aren't getting all of what they want, but buyers are having a little bit more room to negotiate and things of this nature, but not significantly. It's not that all of the cards and all the leverage is now in the buyer's court, but it is not what it used to be when sellers were able to pretty much name their price and get an offer. And this is up 30% from this time last year, when we can see that 3.3 is much more of an obvious seller's market. So again, if you're a buyer looking at this, it is important to set expectations. Present your home well, be willing to negotiate, and just if you're looking for an offer that's agreeable, maybe adjust your expectations on setting an aggressive price from the beginning and being willing to negotiate if you want your home to move at a fair price and in a reasonable amount of time. Last but not least, we have average showings to pending. So I love this number because it shows you, we can work backwards to and see how many showings it takes for your home to get an offer that's accepted. So this is an indication of how many folks entered the home or utilized the lockbox before the seller found or received an offer that was acceptable to them. So in Dallas, Georgia specifically, we are down 5.8%. So it actually took less people to see a particular home before an offer was accepted, which is, if you're a seller, this is actually a good thing. The more people we can get into the home, it's only taking about 8 folks on average to get you an offer that is acceptable. So a lot of things go into this: presentation, location, age of appliances and different systems or the home. There's a lot of different things that go into here, but on average for single family homes in Dallas, Georgia specifically, it's taking less showings to get you an offer that you're like, I like this offer, I'm gonna go with this one, which is a good thing. As we can see here, Paulding County is also following suit. So that is all I have for you folks in this market update. Of course, my name is Tajh Walker, and I love to chat with you more about your home. Make sure to check out the description below. There's some free resources there as well for you to get a little bit more information about what your home may be worth. And make sure to fill it out below, and I'll get those resources to you promptly. If you'd like to talk a little bit more detail about your home and come up with a plan, either in terms of determining its value or you're considering listing your home, feel free to reach out to me and we can go from there. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.